All right, I want to explain something that I'm also going to explain much further in the car as I'm headed up to LA, because I've got some meetings there. There's a few really cool business partners I'm linking up with, and just some friends. So in this video, you guys already saw the title, thumbnail, you know what it is about, but I want to talk about what it's like to travel so much, X amount. I'm gonna explain how I structure that, as an 18-year-old entrepreneur, just as an entrepreneur in general, or even as a person in general. There's a lot of ways you could spin it. So you could spin it as a person in general, or as an entrepreneur, as a young person, as a young entrepreneur, whatever. So I'm gonna explain how it's affected me, a lot of things. The cool thing is, and there's both sides of this. Nothing's as amazing as it seems. You can see, got to take the trash out. Anyways, because I'm headed out, I'm bringing that out with me. But it's so cool to travel, and I'm not gonna bash it. I'm gonna explain why I love a home base too. But I've done a lot of traveling for about 2 years. So ever since I was 16, I'm 18 currently for those who don't know. Ever since I was 16, I started doing a lot of travels. And so that was always within the US, couldn't really afford to go outside the US too much, and it was more complicated underage, this and that, not knowing a lot of people. But so always moving around, I was curious about different environments. I loved palm trees, so I was always chasing the palm trees. And going down to Florida, going to California, I just kept going to LA all the time. That's been my only goal, to really move there. That was not my only, but that was my main goal since I was about 13. So it was cool to make that happen. I'm gonna explain that in a second. But the whole travel piece at a young age. So, I just flipped around my whiteboard here. You can see my beautiful shoes, my skateboard shoes. These things are freaking so helpful. Anyways, literally booking an Airbnb right now, just waiting for her to reply. But I wanna explain this real quick because I believe it's really important. So, since I've been traveling, it really introduced me to 2 different things, technically 3. So, I'm gonna start with the third, a sense of independence that you can kind of how you want, but direct things that it did. It really gave me a sense of culture and the different ways that people live in different locations, the different lifestyles available, because you have access to anything you want. If you wanna go live in Bali, which I've lived there, I'll talk about all that in a second. If you wanna live in, a third world country in a different spot, you can do that. If you wanna go to Europe, you can do that. If you wanna do this and that, you can do that. I do apologize for the lighting right now, it's not the best. But anyways, focus on what I'm saying. So, you can do anything you want. The lifestyle is achievable. It's there. Now, it might be difficult. You might talk about, but I don't have the financial resources. You still have the potential to get it. I don't want to say you have the ability to get it. It is attainable. It's possible. It is possible. No matter what situation you're in, it is possible. So there's no excuse you can possibly make. So the thing that you got to realize is when I was 16 getting thrown into all these environments, I always put myself into one of 2 different situations, drastic wealth or extreme poverty. And so these are 2 different things I saw, and I quickly gravitated towards the wealthy because that's what I wanted. I wanted the affluence. And so what I noticed is the way people lived, I started meeting a lot of people. People introduced me to other people, and just excuse me, just kind of snowballed. And so I met a lot of people. I learned about how they conduct themselves. And so traveling on the end of seeing the different lifestyles opened my eyes up to the different locations. That's what led me to falling in love with California. So by doing that, the other thing that I also learned about traveling, besides independence, is at least at a young age, when you're young, you really understand bubbles. And I'm gonna explain what this is in a second, but you understand the different I don't wanna relate this to lifestyle. I don't know how I'm gonna make this make sense, because it's more than just a lifestyle. It's also about, I guess you could tie it in. I don't really know where I'm going with this exactly. I'm trying my best to put it in words. So there's so many different ways that people even live, the way people think, the way people act, certain demographics. I'll give you an example, a direct example. I spent about 3 weeks in Naples, Florida one time. Do you know where that is? Most of you probably don't. I'm sure one person's gonna comment, I know where that is. It's amazing, it's a great place, love it. Naples, Marco Island, amazing. It is almost all old people. I've never been to a place with so many old people, but it was old wealth. So a lot of Rolls Royces, Ferraris, mansions, not new modern mansions, the old money style. Ridiculous amounts of money, but it was older money. And so the reason I threw myself in that situation is because I wanted to go make some money. So what I started doing is I went up to all these business owners and I started offering social media marketing services. I knew they had the money, they were qualified. The odds of them knowing social media marketing were next to nothing. The odds of them having a good business because they've been in business for a long time was extremely high, and I started closing some clients. So threw myself in that situation, right? It was a profitable situation. Met some amazing people too. Discovered one of my favorite restaurants. So it threw myself into that progression, and I understood, different levels of it. Then, when I went to Miami, I lived in Miami for like a month and a half, and I was there every other week for like 6 months. So basically living there half the time, and I was about to move there. it was always the fake BS, which is why I didn't end up moving there. It was like the young money, but it was rented money. It was, you know, spending their, you know, the last little bit of their check on renting a Lambo or popping some Dom at the club. It's like, it was stupid. You know, I didn't like it. So I ended up not, you know, pursuing that. So then when I found California, it was a good balance for me. It really was. And I understood the micro situations, the different places. And I'm gonna talk about more world travels and everything here in a second, but there's different pockets in California. I've spent a lot of time in San Francisco, so a little bit up outside of their Walnut Creek, Pleasanton area. I've done a lot of things up there. Spent a lot of time in LA, it's where I originally moved, and I've also now, I spent a lot of time in San Diego too, but I've lived in Orange County, Newport Beach to be specific. I'm at my Newport place right now. So I've lived in these different locations. I've understood the people there, kind of the whole purpose of those people behind there, and just how they act, how they conduct themselves. So I'm very specific with it. And you know, I discovered what I like, what I don't like. Me personally, I don't think I'll ever live in one place full time. So before I say I'm not gonna ever live in LA, I'm not gonna live anywhere full time. So, you know, Newport Beach for me currently is what I consider my home. This is my home base. However, I go wherever I feel most comfortable, most productive, and most grounded. So this means flying back home to Minnesota, I do that. I've done that multiple times. If this means this is what I'm gonna be doing later this week, I already know it. I can feel it coming. It means going to get in a place on the beach in Malibu so that I can clear my mind. You know, yes, I have a view of the water like 270 degrees here, whatever. Yes, but like on the water, I'm gonna do that. You know, whether it means right now, I'm doing this more for business, but house in the Hollywood Hills. You know, it's all about that for me. So I've moved around a lot. I've done random stuff. Went up to the Appalachian Mountains, got a Jeep in a little house in the middle of nowhere. You know, did stuff in Utah, Colorado, you know, Hawaii, wherever, Mexico. You explain it. Now, you know, or you can guess. So the other thing is when I first moved to LA when I was 17 at the beginning of this year, liked it, was looking for a house, didn't find the right deal, so I ended up saying, screw it, let's go travel. I'll come back in a few months, there'll be more stuff on the market, which is logical. So went to Mexico, China, Bali, Thailand, Malaysia, Russia, Prague and Czech Republic, Amsterdam, and then I came back, went to Minnesota because I was feeling that vibe for a few days, then went to LA, then came back down and got this place in Newport. Throughout the time, my buddy and business partner who I was traveling with continued on Spain, Rome, Morocco, which is in Africa, some, you know, Italy, some crazy spots, whatever, and kept doing all that. So I've gone overseas, I've done this stuff. Traveling, the way it affects you is really interesting. This is what most people don't realize, is it gives you such a perspective. And I don't mean perspective on, oh, life, like the stupid thing your parents used to tell you. Yeah, maybe. But it's the micro, it's the small things in there. Gives you a, you know, a perspective on financials. I'll start off with that one. We'll talk about financials. It's more of a business channel. We'll just start with it. So, for an example, when I was in Bali, I was there for a month. My plan was to live there. I ended up, you know, loving it, and then I continued on. I was kind of over it after a month. I was like, this is whatever. So continued on. I would definitely go back. It's an amazing place. I would recommend it. But what I learned there is when I'm driving my dirt bike, which I had rented for $4 a day, you know, at sunrise at 5 a.m. because I'm, you know, working California time, so my sleep schedule is messed up, and I'm driving, and you know, I've got a $3,000 laptop. This has nothing to do with bragging. $3,000 laptop in my bag. I've got 2 phones on me, a portable charger, it's like 50 bucks. Got, you know, a pair of shoes. I was wearing Yeezys at the time. They were trashed, but still $200. Wearing, you know, $30 pants, $20 shirt. And then recognizing that as I'm driving, I'm looking at people, excuse me, in these rice fields with their pants rolled up, muddy water up to their knees, which I can only assume is freezing cold, with a backhoe, you know, working in these fields. You know, 50, 60-year-old people, young people, old people, everything, men, women, children, working for what I now know to be anywhere from $1 to $3 a day. So it gave me a perspective on financial income there. Now, I'll be going to Dubai soon. I'm sure that's going to change things, but doing stuff like Vegas, LA, but now overseas, being in places like Europe, okay, where I can really see different levels of wealth inside of there, it does give you a perspective on money. For example, if you were to live in Bali, there's multiple entrepreneurs who live in Bali. It's very inexpensive. Like while I was traveling, on average, and I wasn't living cheap by any means, it's never about the money, but even though it is and it isn't, it was really interesting because I was spending in my total expenses traveling plus having a videographer with me everywhere I went. I flew someone out, all expenses paid, in exchange for a couple months of doing that. They got amazing experiences. I brought 2 people out actually. That cost was what my house in LA would have cost me, which is about $10,000 a month. So just the house In LA, you have other costs. You have food, living, entertainment, travel on top of everything. I'm talking that 10,000 was included all my airfare traveling here. You know, I flew economy everywhere, I don't care. You know, anything we needed to buy, food, adventures, yeah, cliff jumping, renting a boat, jet skiing all the time, whatever, living good. So it was really cool to see. And yeah, I still had other expenses aside from business expenses, which is completely indirect. The only other expense I had or thing I had tying myself anywhere was I put my car in storage in Los Angeles. So I still had about $2,000 a month in expenses tied to LA on my car, you know, just with storage, insurance. I kept insurance on it. Honestly, I just didn't feel like canceling it. I didn't know how. And then also the car payment. So doing that, it really did give me a great perspective on the world, where I would want to live, where I'd consider living. The biggest thing it taught me personally is that I don't want to live in one location. I really don't. And this is something I've kind of learned being here too, you know? Like, I moved in, when I was kind of first here, I didn't go anywhere for like 2 months because I had so much work to get done. I was launching a ton of stuff. And at one point, I went over 3 weeks without having a direct one-on-one real conversation with someone I know in person. Because I moved here because I didn't really know anyone here. So I said I would be focused. And so it was a really interesting situation, but now I know that I need to move around. I'll switch locations. I'll work by myself. I'll go with people. I'll go to business, you know, locations where I'm with business partners, where I'm just with friends who don't do business, like separation. So for me, I like to jump around. I like to move, and being able to travel is really amazing. It is. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's amazing. And let's see if this Airbnb lady replied. Let me actually refresh. I'll give you an example. I'm literally leaving right now. Here's my bags. That's it. I'm going. Bringing that. I don't know if I'm bringing a tripod, but got my light here for you guys. Gotta be fancy. Let me see. Did she say it doesn't matter? It's okay. Don't worry. All right. Book now. This is not about price. Not about this and that. But that's what I'm spending, and it literally is amazing. I'm able to do that. And what's really cool to me is I'm able to obviously financially support myself, which I've been able to do for quite some time now, which is amazing. But this is what's really cool, the location and the time freedom and the choice. I'm gonna call it choice selectiveness freedom. I can be with or be without anyone or anything I want to. If I want to sell my car today, I can sell my car. If I wanna break the lease here, I can break the lease. I paid a lot of money to do it, but I can do it. I could go buy a new car, that's just financial. I could say F you to one of my business partners, cut him off. I could go pick up some girl tonight. I could go to Dubai in the next flight, whenever's the soonest flight. I could charter a jet to San Francisco to eat ramen noodles that I bought at a Walmart. I could punch a hole through this whiteboard and throw it off my balcony and make a neighbor mad. I could do it. So there's nobody to tell me no, which is interesting. I don't know who gave me that power. Bad idea. Nobody to tell me no, and I'm financially able to do a lot of things, and I don't have the time restriction or location restriction that a lot of people have with a job, but also not just a job, relationships, and just things tying them down. I'm not saying I'm not tied down, but I like to have that flexibility because it helps me be more productive, and I like that. So that's one thing I really like about traveling. So I don't know, if you guys have done any traveling, let me know what that would be down below. I'm definitely gonna do some more travel type videos. You guys have already been seeing some stuff as I travel around. You can go way back on the channel when I had the filmer and the videographer travel with me. We made some amazing content. You know, did a little business in China, meeting up with some suppliers, did a really funny video there. Did a lot of stuff in Bali, Thailand, whatever. You can go back on the channel, watch some of that, or just simple stuff that I've done myself, traveling around up in New York, Miami, LA, Arizona, wherever, back home, a ton of different stuff. You can go check it out. I'm definitely gonna keep dropping more travel videos, so let me know what you would wanna see specifically. Let me also know what the coolest single destination that you have ever traveled to is. Drop it down below. What do you think is the coolest place that you've been to? Gotta be able to speak from experience, and why. I'm looking for some more locations to go to, so let me know. I would greatly appreciate it. With that being said, you guys, I've got to finish booking this real quick and jump on the road. I'm gonna book it on camera to show you I'm legit. I feel like there's gonna be some person, he's not paying that much, he just pulled. It's not about that. All right, so other than that, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to drop a like down below. I would greatly appreciate it. And as always, join the family, join the gang, but hit that nice looking subscribe button. We're a little bit over, excuse me, what are we over actually? Let me pull up the YouTube statistics here. We are at 104,700. So about 1,500 from when you guys have seen this, which is amazing. First of all, I appreciate that. That's crazy to me. And second of all, if you want to be a part of that, it's free. I would appreciate it. That's really all I ask in return for making these videos. And if you have any video suggestions, feel free to leave that in the comments down below, as well as your favorite location and why. And with that being said, I'll be seeing you guys tomorrow in the next video. Peace. Oh, and whether you guys agree with it or not, I do what I feel, and I feel I need to explain that last little thing I just did there. I don't want to keep anything from you guys. I don't want to lie. I don't want to have to lie. I don't want to be forced to lie. Someone, since I happened to mention that booking, was probably going to say something. I don't want skeptical people. I would rather kill that. There you go. I booked the property. It's said and done. You'll be seeing a vlog there soon.